What's up guys, Maelstrom here. If you enjoyed the video then like, subscribe and leave a comment down below so I can keep on making these awesome videos for you guys. It has been 2 days since the day Sasuke got hospitalized by Naruto, who happened to have enjoyed putting the Uchiha down. Since that day Naruto started hoping that he would get more chances to put the Uchiha in his place and destroy his mountain-size ego. But he didn't have time to think about that. Naruto's current problem was fangirls. For the past 2 days Naruto had been training harder than he usually did since he didn't really have anything besides that to do. He went out to look for Kurenai, but couldn't find her due to being chased by fangirls, and that was kind of the reason he didn't go outside much. Yesterday some female shinobi practically raped him. It seemed like they gain extra strength when they are hunting down a hot guy like savages, and he forgot to take off the gravity weights. He wasn't able to buy any masks since he would get jumped when he would set his foot outside the Sarutobi mansion. Naruto now really didn't see the point of buying a mask since most people already saw his face, and henge didn't seem to work either. So the constant training wore him out. Hokage office. At the moment Naruto was talking to the Hokage about the suspicious activities that had been going on around the border of Suna. There seemed to be more Suna ninjas that were patrolling the area than there usually were, and some foreign ninjas were seen going in and out of Suna at late hours. Normally this wouldn't really concern Naruto, but the fact that there seemed to be a few Konoha sneaking around as well seemed a little off. And when Naruto asked the Hokage if he assigned any mission, but the Hokage didn't recall any memory of sending any ninja there in the past few months. So where have you heard this news, Naruto? Asked a curious Hokage. Sensei, I have my own spy network like Jiraiya, but they might not be as good as his. Still they are good enough to know these kinds of things, and they are getting better at collecting information without being found out, answered Naruto. So are you going to send anyone to go and investigate? Asked Naruto. Sarutobi took a puff out of his pipe and said, I want you to go and check this out. Naruto. Nani? Why me? You could send some Enbu to check it out, said an annoyed Naruto. Well, more than one person could be found out easily, and there are not many available Junin to send. Besides, you really have nothing to do in Konoha and you could get away from your fangirls. You are also the strongest person in the village, so it would be a waste to not use your skill, said the Hokage with pride, and hoping that Naruto would take the bait. And he was sure Naruto did when he saw a wide-eyed look from Naruto. So will you be taking this mission? Asked the Hokage. Hi, answered Naruto with some reluctance. Well then I want you to leave in 2 days. Is that enough time for you to be prepared? The Hokage earned a nod from Naruto. If that's all you need, I will be going to see someone. Naruto then shishined out of Hokage's office. When Sarutobi saw Naruto left, he summoned a cage bushin and made it do the paperwork while he was reading Jiraiya's research. How I wish I was young enough to do all these things, thought the Hokage with a perverted smile on his face. With Naruto was walking outside with a smile on his face, thinking that today would be a really good day. So far he didn't have any fangirls chasing him, which was a blessing in itself. He could see young women drooling at the sight of him, and men had envious look on their face since Naruto was getting a lot of attention from the ladies. He didn't really mind people giving him this look as long as they didn't chase after him or giving him a look of hatred, which was present in some people. He was currently looking for one person, and that was the beautiful red-eyed woman. He didn't really know where to look for her, so he was just wandering around hoping that he would run into her somehow. But that would have to wait for now. Naruto suddenly felt a feeling of dread go up his spine. It was the feeling he got whenever his fangirls were nearby. My fangirl sense is tingling, thought Naruto. So trusting his instinct, he slowly looked back and froze. Behind him he saw at least 100 fangirls, and most of them were shinobi. They had signs up which had, Naruto-sama marry me or I want to bear your children, Naruto-sama, and all sorts of other things written on it. Kasha, why did they have to come right now? I have to get away from them somehow and fast. But how? Thought Naruto for a second, and then an idea hit him. Ano, how are you guys doing? Asked Naruto to the group in front of him. When he asked them that, most of the girls had hearts in their eyes, thinking his voice was angelic. Naruto-sama is talking to me. What should I do? Said one girl aloud, earning her glares from other fangirls. Naruto, thinking it was time to carry out his plan, pointed to the back of the group and yelled, "Nai! What the hell is that behind you ladies?" shouted Naruto. "Where?" yelled all the girls and looked to where he was pointing. When they looked back and saw nothing, one girl said, "But Naruto-sama, there's nothing there." With a look to see Naruto, but he was nowhere in front of them. Then they saw him about 400 to 500 feet away from them. KUSO, he tricked us, yelled one girl with Chunin vest. SUGOI, Naruto Sama is so smart, yelled another girl. She said it loud enough for Naruto to hear, which made him sweat drop. I hope my plan works or I am loyally screwed, thought Naruto. Well girls, what are you waiting for? Let's chase after him, yelled the girl in the front, and with that everyone gave chase. Naruto at this point started to run faster, thinking that no one would be able to keep up with him. How wrong he was. After couple of minutes of running, Naruto looked back to see if there were any girls behind him, and when he couldn't see anyone he sighed in relief. That was short-lived when he felt the same dreaded feeling. This time without even looking back he started running again. He could hear screams of girls calling out to him. He ran at any direction he could find. He finally put some distance between him and the fangirls, but he knew they would eventually find him. "Hey, where the hell am I?" said Naruto out loud. He was pretty sure he was lost again like 3 days ago, but this place seemed familiar to him, and he confirmed it when he saw the two people that freaked him out even more than his fangirls. It was the clones. With them was the girl Tenten, if he recalled correctly, and the Hyuga. Naruto started to back away from them, hoping to not get noticed, but that went through the drain when he saw everyone looking at him. Tenten was blushing to the point where her head seemed to explode any moment now. Guy went wide-eyed and his other two students were confused as to who this person is. Yandame-sama, Guy whispered. "Damn, he is so hot, way hotter than Neji." This thought went through Tenten's head as she drooled a bit while staring at the man in front of her. How dare that guy wear those flashy clothes? It should be me who gets to wear them, thought a jealous Neji as he compared outfits. "Ano, who are you?" asked a blushing Tenten, ignoring the way the man looked at them like they were crazy. I believe that I introduced myself about hour days ago," said Naruto, because he could have sworn he already introduced himself. "Naruto Sama, is that you?" yelled a surprised Guy. "Why yeah," Naruto stuttered as he was still unused to Guy's antics. "That piece of hunk is him," thought Tenten. She saw her sensei and her teammate giving her weird look, and Naruto had an amused look on his face. "I said that out loud, didn't I?" said an embarrassed Tenten. Everyone gave her a nod and she slapped her forehead. Naruto smiled at her slyly, then said, "I'm flattered that you think of me that way, Ten-chan." This made her blush even more. Shut up," stuttered Tenten, making Naruto chuckle. "Yosh, Naruto Sama, my second eternal rival. I will run 500 laps around Konoha for not recognizing you, Gain and Lee. This is your punishment too," yelled Guy. "Yosh, Gai sensei, your flames of youth burn brighter than ever," interjected Guy's prestigious student. "Lee, when did I become your rival?" asked a scared Naruto. Guy then takes out a book, and when Naruto saw it his eyes went wide. It was the same book he signed last time he met Guy. "You and Kakashi are my eternal rivals," boasted Guy like it was something to be proud of. "Do you have to yell out everything you say, Guy-san?" Naruto questioned as he covered his ears. "This is a way to bring out my flames of youth to make it shine brighter than ever, Naruto Sama," shouted Guy while striking his patented good guy pose. "Gai sensei," yelled his clone Lee. They started hugging each other. "Gai sensei." A crashing wave suddenly appeared out of nowhere, and also a bright orange sun was setting in the distance. Tenten and Neji were groaning at their antics, they having long since gotten used to Guy and his clone acting like this every day. Kakashi and Naruto seemed to make the clones even more excited, and that they were not used to. Naruto was forming a plan to get away from these freaks, but he was brought out of his thought when he heard girls screaming his name from distant. "Oh great, now I have to get away from these two and my fangirls," thought Naruto. "What the hell is that, Neji?" Tenten asked her teammate while looking behind Naruto. Neji then followed her sight and saw a cloud of dust heading their way, and not knowing what it is, he shrugged. "Man, why the hell am I the only one in these kinds of situation?" Naruto wondered. Then an idea hit him right in the head and an evil smile from on his lips. Tenten and Neji saw this and started to back away from Naruto to not get involved in whatever plan he is cooking up in his head. Naruto walked up to both Guy and Lee and smacked them both upside the head, stopping the screams of Gai sensei and Lee. "Enough already." When Naruto said that, both clones settled down and looked at Naruto, but the cloud of dust heading Naruto's way caught their eyes. Lee put his right hand over his eyes to get a better look, but still could, so he did the only thing he could. He yelled, "Nandai Kiori an." I hope everyone knows what that means. I am not Japanese, so I don't really know how to spell it. Sorry. "Yes, Lee-san, I will be getting to that, said Naruto. Now he got the full attention of the duplicates. Now, what you see there, my YY youthful friends, are unyouthful women who have yet to reach their summertime youth, stuttered a disgusted Naruto. As much as Naruto hated to say these words, he had to say it. If he wanted to get out of this place alive, YOSH, yelled Guy and Lee, making Naruto wince in pain. He felt like his eardrum broke, but that's not the only thing that will break if he stays here for too long. Guy, as my eternal rival, I want you to bring back the youth of these women, which I failed to do, and if you succeed in this matter, we'll have more youthful people in Konoha, said Naruto, sugarcoating it. He knew that Guy would fall for this youthfulness crap. YOSH, my eternal rival, I, the beautiful green beast of Konoha, will spread youthfulness to all of Konoha one day. First, I will start with these UN youthful women, yelled an enthusiastic Guy. Why yeah, well, I wish you best of luck. Now onward you go, and may you succeed in teaching these women the way of youth, said Naruto, while thinking that these images of him talking about youth might never go away. Then he saw Guy and Lee start to run toward his fangirls while yelling nonsense. Bakas, Naruto mumbled with a smile on his face. Well, Ten-san, Hiwaga-san, I will see you later, but I hope never to see those two again, interjected Naruto, and ran off the other direction. If Guy and Lee can't scar them for life, then I don't know what will, thought Naruto while running. He smiled when he heard screams of "Ah, these eyebrows are alive, or GT away from us freaks." He just officially signed his death warrant, didn't he? asked Ten-ten with a sigh. Yep. That Baka has no idea what he has gotten himself into by admitting Guy-sensei as his rival, said a smirking Neji, only to get over the head by his teammate. What the hell was that for? asked Neji annoyingly. Don't call the poor gorgeous Guy Baka, you Baka, retorted Tenten, feeling sorry for Naruto for when he meets Guy and Lee in the future. Whatever, Neji mumbled. With Naruto. Naruto had finally come to a stop and was huffing like he had just fought two Jiraiya's at the same time. He was staring at the ground and trying to catch his breath. Era Naruto-sama, why do you look so tired? said a female with angelic voice. Naruto thought he recognized the voice, but couldn't pinpoint whom it is. So finally catching his breath, Naruto looked up to see a familiar that made him blush. It was the object of his affection, Yui Kurenai. Naruto straightened up and gave out a nervous chuckle as he was scratching the back of his head. He then decided to answer her question. Naruto gave a sheepish grin. You see, Kurenai-san, I was running away from my fangirls and then ran into Guy and his team. So in order to escape from them, I used Guy to scare away the fangirl and then ran away so I don't have to deal with Guy and his clone afterward. And that's why I am tired. Kurenai had an amused look on her face, making a mental note that even a Hokage level shinobi will tire out after their confrontation with fangirls and Guy. That was quite a story, Naruto-sama, said Kurenai while giving out a small giggle, which Naruto found to be really cute. To him everything about her is exotic. Those red eyes, that face and her luscious lips. He just wanted to kiss it, and it was getting harder to not give into the temptation when he saw her lips moving. Naruto was broken out of his trance when he felt someone touch his shoulder. He traced it back to the source and saw Kurenai looking at him with a worried look on her face and an almost unnoticeable blush. Sorry, I zoned out for a minute. Didn't mean to worry you there, apologized Naruto, earning a nod of understanding from Genjutsu Mistress. So Kurenai-san, are you going anywhere in particular? Well, I was informed by Kakashi the Sasuke just got released from the hospital today and that I was to inform my team to meet at a certain place to introduce ourselves. After that I'm going to grab lunch, stated Kurenai. Before Naruto could say anything to that, her stomach decided to protest, making Kurenai blush in embarrassment and Naruto chuckle in amusement. Well, I see your stomach doesn't want to wait for you to find your students. Since I was already heading that way to get some food, you want to join me? My treat, asked Naruto with hope, but he couldn't let it show in front of her. Kurenai blushed at the thought of eating lunch with Naruto, and without even thinking about her answer she blurted out, "Why you mean like a D.E?" For that she mentally berated herself, and Chibi Kurenai shouted, who the hell are you, Hinata?" Naruto had a shocked look on his face. He never thought she would actually ask him anything like that. He would have thought that someone as beautiful as her would be taken by now, but by the fact that she even asked about a date might mean that she is single and may be interested in her. At least that's what he hoped. Naruto's nervousness kicked in, so he gave her an awkward smile and said, "Well, I didn't say anything about a date, but if you want we could make it a date. Kurenai, not trusting her voice at this point, just gave Naruto a slow nod. Then if you will, Kurenai-san. I am not familiar with good restaurants in Konoha. Hi. With that, Kurenai started to walk toward one of her favorite place to eat with Naruto beside her. She would occasionally take a peek at Naruto then blush a little. She could see a lot of eyes were on Naruto and her. Majority of the women had a look of jealousy while the man population looked like they were about to murder him. Naruto and Kurenai had to ignore these looks all the way to the restaurant. When they got to the door, both sighed in relief and went in, only to have everyone look at them with a look of interest. But after couple of seconds everyone went back to what they were doing and some whispered among themselves about Naruto. Naruto and Kurenai passed several tables to one that was unoccupied. Naruto walked ahead of Kurenai and pulled out the chair and motioned for Kurenai to sit. Kurenai smiled at Naruto, seeing his polite side, since most men would just sit down and not do what Naruto did. When Naruto saw her take the seat, he went to the other side of the table and took his. After a few seconds, a waiter came back with a pair of menus, which he gave to them. He stood with a notepad and pen ready to take their order. Naruto looked down the menu at the rather marvelous list of foods. After a minute the waiter looked at Kurenai and asked, "What would madam wish to order?" I would like to get tempura, please," Kurenai requested. The waiter scribbled it down and turned to Naruto. "And for you, sir?" the waiter asked with a bit of malice in his voice, which was noticed by both Naruto and Kurenai. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the waiter and said, "Yakitori and one of your finest steak, please." The waiter scribbled it down and was about to leave, but stopped when he felt a hand on his shoulder. He looked back and saw that Demon was standing and then leaned into his ear to whisper something that made his eyes go wide. He then gave Naruto a scared nod and left. Kurenai looked at Naruto as he sat down and then asked, "What did you tell him to scare him so much?" It wasn't a demand but a question of curiosity. Naruto looked at her, smiled sadly and said, "You know about my condition, right?" Seeing Kurenai give him a nod, he continued, "The way this waiter spoke to me, it was clear that he doesn't like me, so he would most likely have done something to my food. So I gave him a warning that if he did do anything, I would hunt him and his whole family down, then slaughter everyone, though I wasn't really serious. But he didn't need to know that." Kurenai giggled at what Naruto said, though she would probably be scared too if one of the Sannin threatened her like that. Naruto smiled at her as the waiter came back with a small plate of spiced bread and a jug of water to occupy them over until their dishes arrived. They both ate the pieces of bread in silence. Naruto had to admit that these breads actually tasted better than he would have thought. Naruto poured himself a glass of water and so did Kurenai after him. Then they both started to make small talk about their life story, but nothing too private since they really don't know each other, just shared some small details. The waiter took that moment to arrive with their dishes. He placed both plates on the table in front of the person who ordered them and left, stopped in mid-step when Naruto muttered arigato, then continued to walk with a small smile on his lips. Kurenai was staring at Naruto with a slightly shocked look that he actually said thank you to the person that hates him. But she guessed that this might be one of his good points. He doesn't seem to hold any grudge toward the people that despised him. Then she saw Naruto unfolded the napkin next to him and she decided to do the same. But in her napkin there were a pair of chopsticks. Itadakimasu. Both muttered and took the first bite of the food. For something so cheap, well, at least for Naruto these foods were really good. Both of them savored the taste as they continued eating their dishes. But the soon came to a stop when Naruto saw some tunas running at top speed and had a frantic look on their face. Deciding to find out what was going on, Naruto wiped his mouth and stood up. Kurenai looked at him with a confused look then asked, "What's wrong, Naruto-sama?" Making Naruto look at her. "I am sorry to cut our date short, but something seems to be going on in the village and I need to check it out," Naruto said while motioned for the waiter to give him the bill. The waiter came up to him and gave him the bill then left. "I wish to continue today's date sometime in the future if you want, and please don't call me Naruto-sama, because it makes me feel old." Kurenai gave Naruto a nod. "It doesn't look like anything big is going on, so I hope you don't stop eating on my behalf, Kurenai-san." "Well, Yani." Naruto then winked at her and left the restaurant, but not before paying the bill. Kurenai was blushing like crazy when Naruto winked at her and continued eating when he left. "Sorry I couldn't come up with anything else because I know Kurenai wouldn't say there when village is at crisis." With Naruto, he was currently spading toward the Hokage Tower to get details on the situation, But before reaching there he ran in the same Chunin that he saw at the gate on the day of his return to Konoha. He stops the Chunin and asked him what was going on in the village. Uchiha Brat has stolen the forbidden scroll from the Hokage-sama's office, said Kotetsu. Naruto narrowed his eyes at that. How did a single genin manage to steal something so important from his office? Hokage-sama went home on his lunch break and that was when the Uchiha stole it. His secretary was found unconscious. Suka, well, you may return to what you were doing. Naruto dismissed Kotetsu, then started to ponder how Sasuke knew where the scroll was. Either someone was working with him or he was planning this alone for some time now if he was to know the exact location of it. I guess I will have to wait and see. Kikuku Uchiha, I have another chance to take you down a peg or two, thought Naruto. An evil smirk formed on his face, but quickly dismissed it and vanished to hunt Sasuke down. In a dark place, a pale man was seen walking down the hall when he felt scared. He thought, oh no, something bad is going to happen and I must relocate to one of my not-so-secret these days hideout. Couple of hours ago with Sasuke. Sasuke got out of the hospital about an hour ago and now he is wandering around the streets of Konoha thinking of ways to get stronger than Naruto. Then surely he would be able to defeat his brother. So far he could come up with nothing. If only he had his Sharingan he would be able to copy Naruto's jutsu and other ninjas. He was thinking that no matter how much he trains, he would never be able to beat Naruto or his brother. He needed to activate his Sharingan if he wanted to go up against them. Perhaps he could try to act like Naruto's best friend and have Naruto teach him. Then he could simply kill Naruto and gain the last level of Sharingan. The Mangekyo Sharingan. Oyai! Sasuke! Shouted someone from behind him. Sasuke looked back to see who it was and saw his white-haired Academy Chunin sensei. His sensei was jogging toward him and seems a bit tired. He was most likely running for quite some time now, though not at top speed. When his sensei arrived in front of him, Sasuke looks at him and said, "What is it, Mizuki-sensei?" "I want to talk to you about something important," said Mizuki. Sasuke narrowed his eyes at that. What could be so important that Mizuki would waste Sasuke's valuable time? If it's some crap about that fight I had with the dope, then forget about it, Sasuke said before turning around to leave. But what made stop was what the answer he got from Mizuki. "What if I could help you attain the power to defeat your brother?" said Mizuki with a sly smile, knowing that this would catch Sasuke's attention. Sasuke turned to Mizuki again and then frowned. "Don't joke with me, sensei. You yourself is a Chunin, so how are you supposed to give me power that I deserve?" "I am getting to the Sasuke. See? There is a scroll in the Hokage office that has extremely powerful jutsus. All the previous Hokages put their best jutsu in that scroll, and if you could steal it and learn the jutsus, there would be no telling how powerful you would become," Mizuki explained. "And how do you suppose I steal it from Hokage's office?" Hokage-sama goes home on his lunch break and leaves his wimpy secretary to watch his office, so you should have no problem if you decide to borrow it for a while," said Mizuki with a smile. "What do you get out of helping me, Mizuki-sensei?" Sasuke asked, not knowing his sensei's intention. Mizuki was sure the Sasuke would be completely in his trap if he decided to make Sasuke think that he is superior to everyone else, so he said, "Helping a loyal Uchiha is reward enough, Sasuke. I would have helped you a long time ago, but the Hokage forbid me from helping or giving you any pointer," Mizuki said with a slight disgust without showing it. Sasuke gritted his teeth when Mizuki said the last part, but he was proud that someone saw the greatness in him. Mizuki noticed this and knew that it worked. The fool had taken that bait. Now the only thing to do was tell him the location of the scroll and where the best place to master strong jutsu. Then for the next hour both formulated plans to steal the forbidden scroll. Mizuki also said stuff about how Sasuke had the potential any ninja that Konoha ever produced to boost Sasuke's ego as if it wasn't already big enough. He also told Sasuke the location of the scroll and the time the Hokage leaves the office. "And that's the plan," finished Mizuki. Sasuke gave him a nod before standing up and leave. Foolish Uchiha won't even know what hit him, thought Mizuki, and he too left the site to carry out his plan. Present time. Naruto has been searching for Sasuke for about 10 minutes now and couldn't even get a glimpse of him. Finally deciding not to waste any time, Naruto headed straight for the Hokage Tower. He should be able to locate Sasuke with his sensei's freaky crystal ball. Upon arriving, Naruto said, "Yo sensei." The Hokage looked up to see his favorite student. "Hey, what are you doing here, Naruto?" "I heard about the Uchiha stealing the forbidden scroll, so I came to see if you could help me locate him." The Hokage sighed and said, "I see you've heard about that." Naruto gave him a cheesy smile and said, "Of course, Most of the Chunins are running around like idiots, so I decided to ask one what was going on. I don't think they could track him down since it's been quite some time now. I couldn't find him either, but Sensei doesn't need to know, thought Naruto. Now, can you locate Sasuke on that ball, Sensei? Sarutobi gave a nod and motioned for Naruto to come and take a closer look. Upon close observation of the crystal ball, Naruto saw an injured Iruka who had a kunai in his right thigh. Sasuke looked like he is about to pass out from chakra exhaustion. In front of both of them was Mizuki, who seemed to be in possession of the scroll. It seems Mizuki somehow used Sasuke to steal the forbidden scroll, said the Hokage as he was staring at the crystal ball. I see. So Mizuki was the one who was behind this, thought Naruto. Well, Sensei, I think I will dispose of this traitor, said Naruto before disappearing from the office. Naruto could not understand why that teacher would want to steal such an important scroll from Konoha. Mizuki seemed like a good person when Naruto saw him at the academy, so why would he want to steal the scroll? Naruto flitted from tree to tree at blinding speed that would make Guy proud. Mizuki must have promised Sasuke something valuable to make him steal the scroll. Now what could Mizuki give the Sasuke would want? Sasuke did seem like he was about to pass out, so he must have been trying to learn techniques from the scroll. How naive, Naruto mused. Just some power-hungry shinobi. These fools are plain stupid, he thought in disgust. He hates people that would go to any length so get power and the Uchiha. Mizuki seems to be in the same category as those people. When Naruto got there, he saw Mizuki throwing giant shuriken at Iruka, who was unable to move. Iruka closed his eyes, thinking that today no one would be able to save him. He waited for his life to drift away, but soon opened his eyes when he heard a clang sound. He saw a cape-wearing figure that had kanji for Phoenix Sannin. He had an elegant nodaki with red blade with no guard in his right hand. The blade was at least 4.5 feet long with 7 inches blue hilt with a seal on it. Black flames were present on the edge of the blade. Iruka was looking at the blade with look of awe. Naruto looked at Mizuki and spat out, "What do you think you are doing with the forbidden scroll?" Mizuki for his part was frightened by Naruto's arrival. He didn't take Naruto coming here into consideration. "You Uzumaki-sama, what are you doing here?" Mizuki asked with innocent voice. He really didn't want to go up against one of the Sannin. Even if this one was a rookie Sannin, he might still be at least a cage-level shinobi. "Don't play games, Mizuki. What do you want the scroll for?" Naruto retorted coolly. Mizuki, finally finding courage to speak up to Naruto, responded, "Of course you will never know. This scroll contains the most powerful jutsu in Konoha, which makes it forbidden for other shinobi. Whoever wants to be as powerful as the Hokage would yearn for such a thing. Of course you wouldn't need something like this since you got everything handed to you, considering you were the Hokage's apprentice." When Mizuki said this, Naruto gripped his sword tighter and gritted his teeth. That dope got trained by the Hokage. How dare they do this to me? Hokage should be begging me to be his apprentice. I am a Uchiha and I deserve the power that this fool has, screamed Sasuke in his mind as he fisted both of his hands hard enough to draw blood. Hokage Tower. Sarutobi was watching everything that was going on in the forest. He knew Naruto would most likely send Mizuki to Ibiki after knowing, but when he just insulted Naruto and the Hokage, he was sure that Mizuki would die today. That fool just dug his own grave. He should have never disrespected Naruto by saying some solo, said the Hokage out loud. With Naruto, "Well, Mizuki, as a Konoha shinobi I can't let you walk away with something that dangerous," Naruto said, a smile. Mizuki had a frown on his face, but that soon turned to a chuckle, then a laugh, echoing throughout the forest. It was stopped abruptly when a fist connected with his face, dislocating his jaw and sending him flying back at least 20 feet. Mizuki slowly got on his feet with the bleeding lips and some loose teeth. "Give up, Mizuki. There is no way for you to defeat me," Naruto said softly. Mizuki, seeing no other option, went through his pocket and took out a vial with red liquids. Naruto, narrowing his eyes, said, "And what is that supposed to do?" Mizuki smiled. "I will show you." He then started to drink the substance. After drinking it, he staggered back and forth for a few seconds, then let out an inhuman scream. His hands, upper body and his head started bulging and tattoos started to form on his biceps, his forehead and on both his cheeks. His pupils became green and slitted. His eyes became narrow. The tattoos on his forehead looked like arrows and the others looked like slash marks. "Nani?" everyone present whispered with wide eyes. Mizuki started to chuckle seeing the reactions. "What powerful chakra!" "My skin and twitching," said Iruka. Sasuke wanted this power. He needed it to reach his ambition. This power. Why the hell am I the only one to be so weak? Damn it. Sasuke screamed inside his mind. Mizuki was staring at Naruto. Now with this power he wasn't scared anymore. He felt like he could demolish anyone in his way. What's wrong? Scared yet? Naruto scoffed. Che, you are still too weak, fool. I will show you weak, shouted Mizuki as he sped toward Naruto with a kunai in hand at Junin speed that surprised Iruka since he knew Mizuki was never this fast. He barely caught sight of him. That thing seemed to give him boost in his speed. Naruto's thoughts were cut short when the kunai came within inches of his face. Using his superior speed, Naruto leapt over Mizuki and delivered a spinning kick to the side of Mizuki's head, sending him flying. Told you, even with this power boost you are still weak, Naruto informed. His next sets of words were directed at Iruka and Sasuke. You two move away from there. Iruka then moved over to Sasuke and helped him move farther from the fight. Well, Mizuki, you should consider yourself lucky to see this next technique that will claim your life, Naruto stated as he stabbed his sword in the ground directed toward Mizuki. Dageki no Fenikusu Flaming Phoenix Strike, shouted Naruto. Hokage Tower. That almost looks like, thought the Hokage when he saw Mizuki transform. Then a flashback of Anko's transformation from long ago came to his mind and he instantly knew. So then that's Orochimaru's power. What are you planning now, my foolish students? Muttered the Hokage to himself. With Naruto. Well, Mizuki, you should consider yourself lucky to see this next technique that will claim your life, Naruto stated as he stabbed his sword in the ground facing Mizuki. This was the first time he actually used this technique, so he was not really sure how much damage it could do. Hopefully it would be enough to take Mizuki down even with his tainted chakra, as he'd rather not waste the chakra in launching another attack. Dageki no Fenikusu Flaming Phoenix Strike, shouted Naruto. In less than a second, raging blue flame erupted from under the blade, ripping through the ground and headed straight toward Mizuki at a speed most Junin can't manage. Mizuki stood frozen on the spot. There was no way to avoid the fire heading his way, so he would just have to brace himself and hope to live to see another day. Before the fire made contact with Mizuki, it took the shape of a phoenix head and opened its mouth to devour him. Mizuki put both his hands in front of his face, making a cross shape to lessen the damage. When it did make contact with Mizuki, first he felt a little warm, then suddenly searing pain coursed through his body. It felt as if his body was melting down. Mizuki painfully looked down to his torso and saw something that brought terror and pain his eyes. He let out an inhuman shriek that was heard throughout Konoha, make people shiver in fear. Sasuke and Iruka had to cover their eyes to keep from going blind from the bright light that was created when it contacted Mizuki. Naruto was looking in Mizuki's direction with an impassive expression on his face. He couldn't wait to see his handiwork. When the attack died down, everyone present was hit with a smell of burning flesh. Naruto saw what his jutsu did and looked away. Mizuki was now what you would say ooze. His bones, flesh and blood were now one. Iruka and Sasuke looked to see the sight, serving to make Sasuke throw up. Iruka had to hold the urge to follow Sasuke in throwing up, but he forced it down considering he saw similar sights when Kawabe attacked 15 years ago. Naruto went over and took the scroll from the remains of Mizuki. It seems to have some sort of seal to protect it from any harm. The scroll was glowing blue, meaning the seal created a barrier to protect it from Naruto's jutsu. When the glow died down, Naruto picked it up and went over to where Sasuke and Iruka are sitting. Iruka-san, do you think you will be able to walk, or should I carry you? Asked Naruto in a generous tone. Iruka shook his head. It's okay, Naruto-sama, and my wounds are not that bad. Naruto gave Iruka a nod and looked over to Sasuke. Be prepared for your punishment, Uchiha, Naruto said in a cold tone. Sasuke didn't say anything, only smirked inwardly. He got to see the first technique in the scroll that he tried to master, and he was pretty sure he would get that technique down by the time he had to fight anyone else. He also figured that the punishment wouldn't be that grave. He was an Uchiha after all. Konoha needed him more than they need this fool of a Sannin delusional much. Konoha wouldn't be strong as they are now if it weren't for the Uchihas. Sasuke gave Naruto a mocking nod as he was thinking, now, go home and Iruka-san, you should get your wounds healed, suggested Naruto with a smile as he disappeared out of sight. Unbeknownst to them, a figure was watching everything that was going on in the forest. He had a hood over his head to conceal his features. The only thing that was seen was the outline of his masculine face and a pair of glasses the figure was wearing. He chuckled softly and thought, Orochimaru-sama will be quite interested in this turn of events. As he vanished into the earth, Naruto was heading toward the Hokage Tower, and one thought was on his mind, who is that? I will have to remember his chakra signature. Naruto arrived at the tower and went through the window, making the Hokage fall out of his chair trying to hide his Icha book. "Damn it, Naruto, would it kill you to use the door?" asked the scared Hokage. Naruto laughed at his sensei's antics. The last time he saw his sensei this scared was the time when his wife found him reading those smut at home. After Naruto's laughter died down, he asked, pointing to the orange book, "Why were you trying so hard to hide that?" The Hokage mumbled something under his breath. Naruto, not getting what he said, asked again, and Sarutobi said as he was holding the book to his chest and watery eyes, "Your Oba-san burned some of my precious books after finding it in my private library." Naruto chuckled after his reason. It was pretty much what he suspected. He then put his hands back and handed the scroll to Sarutobi. "Maybe you should put some seals on the place where you put the scroll," suggested Naruto, "so no one could get it as easily as Sasuke did today." The Hokage looked at him and gave him a nod. "Why don't you do the pleasure, Naruto?" "I don't know much about seals," Sarutobi said as he leaned back in his chair with a sigh. "I will put one before leaving on my mission," said Naruto. "Oh, and I think you have spies in the village." "I am not really sure, but I think you should look into these kinds of matters." The Hokage rubbed his forehead from the tensions and groaned. "Ugh. I am too old for this shit." Naruto raised his eyebrows. He had never really heard his sensei say stuff like that, but then again everyone has a bad day, and for his sensei he figured today is one of those days. "Maybe you should retire, sensei." The Hokage sucked on his pipe and sighed. "And whom do you think will take my place?" "Jiraiya is always with his research." Tsunade never even came back to Konoha after she left this place couple of years after her lover died. "The only choice would be you." The Hokage said the last part in a joking manner. Naruto gave a snort. "No thanks, sensei, I wouldn't want to rot in this office at such young age." "Damn, thought I had a way out," thought the aging Hokage. "So Naruto, did you create that jutsu you used on Mizuki, or someone taught you during your 3 years training?" asked the Hokage, having nothing else to talk about with his student since the thought of him taking the job over was quashed. But it was a rather good question since he wanted to learn what his student is capable of. "Actually, during my training I did a lot of training with the Phoenix and learned to cope with their special abilities, and after I was finished, I got the sword and with it a couple of techniques," said Naruto, pointing at the sword on his back. Flashback. Naruto was standing in front of the Phoenix summon. He finished his hard training with all kinds of different Phoenix. He never knew there were so many different types of Phoenix. He was amazed at the fact that there was another Phoenix that was bigger than even the boss, though not really strong. When Naruto asked Raijin why he was smaller than Raitsu, the answer he got was because he was the oldest of the Phoenix and he lost majority of his strength due to old age, even though Phoenix always rise after they fall. "Alright Naruto, for finishing you training I will be giving you the Sword of Phoenix. As its official holder, the sword is passed down from generation to all the boss, and the boss is supposed to give it to the summoner of the Phoenix if they are deemed worthy," explained Raijin as a sword materialized in front of Naruto. Naruto looked at the sword and was shocked at its beauty. It was one of the most beautiful swords he saw, and was shocked that it was now his. Raijin saw his shock, but continued anyways. "With the sword, you'll be able to perform many different kinds of techniques, and I will foresee your training from here on until you master the techniques." "Understood?" Naruto nodded. "Alright, take a breather for today and from tomorrow your righteous training will continue," said Raijin as he left. In the same fashion he appears to this world. Naruto went over to the sword and picked it up, and gave it a few practice swings. For some reason it felt so right in his hands. And flashback. So you see, that was one of the technique that could only be performed with the sword. Naruto summed up. "Do you have a name for the sword?" asked the old Kage. Naruto smiled as he recalled Raijin telling him the name of the sword. "It's called Muramubi Passing Dream Fire." Sarutobi was abruptly cut off when he heard someone yell out "pervert," followed by another scream, and he could only identify that voice as Konoha's Green Beast Mato guy. Now why would someone scream pervert since Jiraiya is not here? And second later Guy screams like he was being beaten or something. Earlier with Guy and his student were standing on the side of an empty street and seemed to be discussing something importantly. "It's time I teach you about talking to women," exclaimed Guy with his patented good guy pose. "Yosh, Guy-sensei," said Lee, paying close attention to what his sensei is saying. He then took out a book to write down every single word he is being preached. "You have to figure out what they like so they feel you are interested and care about them," suggested Guy. "Hi, I understand," Lee said as he scribbled everything down carefully not to miss a word. Guy then saw a woman walking with her dog and pointed to her. "See that woman over there? She likes dogs. Watch me appeal to that. He then walked over the woman and gave her his super special pose, creating sparkles around him. Hey babe, my hot-blooded passion demands we experience the joys of youth together tonight. Just you, your dog and me. Causing the woman to blink for a few seconds, processing what this weirdo said. Then it hit her. "Ah, you pervert," she shouted. She then ordered her dog to attack his special area. The Scott guy running as fast as he could. "Ah, I was just going to suggest that we go running together," Guy shouted as he was running to save his hide. "YOSH, GAI sensei is on fire," exclaimed Lee, being the idiot he is not knowing what was happening. Present time. "What was I saying, Naruto?" asked the Hokage, not remembering the thing he wanted to ask Naruto. "You ended with what before someone screamed?" "Since you can't remember, I will be taking my leave." With that, Naruto stood up from his chair and jumped out the window. He landed smoothly on his feet and started to roam around Konoha to sate his boredom. There were not many people outside except a few shinobi. He figured everyone was probably eating lunch or maybe bathing. The only choice he had at the moment was to either to go home or go to one of his favorite places, the Hokage Monument. Right now, it seemed like a good choice, so he started in that direction. If only he could bring Kurenai to that place. Speaking of the red-eyed goddess, she was currently in the hot spring enjoying her bath and talking with her best friend Anko. "Kurenai, where were you during lunch today? You said you would meet me in the dango shop and you weren't there. I looked for you practically everywhere," Anko asked with a frown, causing Kurenai to shrug. "I was actually on a date today and after that I had to talk to my team," Kurenai stated with a slightly dreamy smile on her face. Anko's eyes widened to the size of a saucer. Kurenai was known as the Ice Queen of Konoha for turning down every date she had ever been asked to. Now she is hearing that Kurenai actually accepted a date, so whoever that person was, must be something. Anko looked at Kurenai with a curious yet mischievous look. Kurenai felt like she would melt under her gaze. "Details," growled Anko with her face an inch away from Kurenai, serving to unnerve the red-eyed woman. "It wasn't much of a date really. He asked me if I wanted to eat lunch and like a blabbermouth, I asked if it was a date. So he said if I wanted to make it a date it would be okay. And in the middle of the date, he left me in the restaurant because of that Uchiha incident," explained Kurenai as she pushed Anko away from her face. "Are you going out with him again?" questioned the fishnet-clad Kunoichi. "I might. He asked me if I wanted to continue today's date," said the red-eyed beauty with a slight blush. "I think you should go for it. I mean, I don't want you to die a virgin," said Anko with a sly smirk. Kurenai looked at her annoyingly. "Shut up, Anko. I am not even sure if the small date we had today was even appropriate. He is too young for me even if he is hot," Kurenai stated with a slight stutter. "Well, spit it out. Who is the guy?" asked the now completely curious Anko. Kurenai fidgeted with her finger for a while. She didn't want Anko to know who it is, because she was worried that Anko might be too judgmental. But it didn't look like she had any other choice, so said, "It's Uzumaki Naruto," with a sigh of relief. She wanted to get that out of her. "Oh man, I was hoping I could get into the Gaki's pants and now you tell me you dating him," exclaimed Anko without even a blush on her face. Kurenai, being modest, at least had the decency to blush. "Anko, we are talking about me here." Anko pouted. "Fine. I think you should date him. He seems like a good person, I think." "And so what if he is younger than you?" "A lot of people date someone younger than themselves. And he doesn't look like a pervert, so I guess that's a bonus. Besides, it will be good for you in the long run," Anko said nonchalantly. Kurenai thought for a second. "I guess I'll think about it," she conceded, as she and Anko started to walk out of the hot spring. The next day, the birds were chirping merrily outside. The joyful people of Konoha were bustling on the busy streets of the village, and the blissful shop owners started to set up their stalls as the morning sun was shining its breathtaking beams on the contented people of Konoha. However, 3 people of Konoha were very irritated about something, or rather about someone. That someone is Kakashi. He was supposed to be at his team meeting about 2 hours ago and he still hasn't shown up. Kiba and Sakura were pissed to no end. Kurenai was only slightly irritated since she knew of Kakashi's tardiness. Sasuke had an expression of indifference, so did Shino. Hinata was poking her finger together. "Cha, where the hell is that demoted teacher of ours?" Sakura yelled in frustration, swinging her fist in the air. Everyone present merely sweat dropped. That is, except Shino, who still held the mask of indifference. If Kakashi told them to meet 3 hours later, then they could have used this valuable time to do something more to prepare. Just then a sound of puff indicated someone's presence, and when everyone looked to the direction of the sound they saw Kakashi lazily standing there with a peace sign. A Hail Mina greeted Kakashi as he dodged a kunai thrown his way by an angry Sakura. My second impression of you is don't like you, Kakashi stated. Now that we are comfortable with each other, let's introduce ourselves. Kakashi's unhidden eye became U-shaped as he smiled under his mask. Everyone was giving him the look of bewildered, and one thought crossed their mind: who the hell said everyone was comfortable with you? Let's start with your names, likes, dislikes and dream, Kakashi says, pointing toward Hinata. You go first. But sensei, shouldn't you introduce yourself first, being the teacher and all? Interrupted Sakura with her know-it-all attitudes. I guess that's understandable, said Kakashi. My name is Hate Kakashi. My likes are none of your business. My dislikes, well, I don't see how that's your business either. I have few hobbies. As for my dreams, Kakashi trailed off while staring at the sky, then looked down. Everyone's face faltered hearing his introduction. All they learned was his name. Kurenai wanted to go over and hit him upside the head, but that wouldn't set a good example in front of the kids. Since you interrupted me, you're going first, Kakashi said whilst pointing toward Sakura. Alright, my name is Haruno Sakura. I like. Sakura turned to look at Sasuke while giggling. And my hobby is, well, my dream is. She turned to look at Sasuke again and started to have starry look in her eyes, then squealed. My hate is Ino Pig and the freak that hurt Sasuke-kun, she screamed. Everyone decided to ignore her introduction since it had nothing that identified her as a kunoichi. Damn, you have a fangirl, thought Kakashi and Kurenai. Not that they didn't know from before, but they wanted to express themselves. Okay, the brooding boy, the silver-haired Junin jerked his head to one side, indicating that it the Uchiha go on. I'm Uchiha Sasuke. I don't have any likes, but I have a lot of dislikes. I don't have a dream. It's more like a ambition. Here his face darkened as he said, my ultimate goal is to kill a certain person and to resurrect my clan. Kakashi narrowed his eye, just as I thought, though that resurrecting his clan thing seems little off since I thought he was gay. Kurenai, seeing Kakashi's team introduction was over, stepped forward and decided to introduce herself. My name is Yuhi Kurenai. My likes are spending time with my friends and relaxing at the hot spring. My dislikes are perverts, tardiness. She gave Kakashi a glare who looked away, and people who show off. My hobbies are cooking and learning new genjutsu. And my dream, well, I think I will keep that to myself. She finished with a slightly glazed look in her eyes. I'll go next. My name's Inuzuka Kiba. This here is my companion and partner Akamaru. I like spending time with him and with beautiful girls. My dislikes are arrogant bastard and people who treat animals badly. My hobbies are training and teaching Akamaru new tricks and techniques, and picking up girls. And my dream is to become the leader of my clan and have a beautiful wife who will listen to me and not scream like Banshee, said Kiba with a perverse grin. Ugh, just another horny teenager, thought Kurenai. She then pointed to the Hyuga heiress and told her to proceed. My name is Hyuga Hinata. My likes are people who treat others with respect. My dislikes are arrogant people. My hobbies are pressing flour and learning new clan techniques. My dream is to one day become a strong clan head and unite the branch and the main family together, said Hinata, stuttering the whole time. Per Newton, I don't want to write her stuttering crap, so I simply wrote it like a regular person is speaking. Looks like I got a lot of work ahead of me. She definitely has issues with her confidence, but with proper care she could become a great kunoichi, thought Kurenai while eyeing the last member of her team as it was his turn next. I guess I will go next. My name is Abraham Shino. I like to collect bugs and breed new ones. My dream for the future is to become the head of my clan, said Shino, surprising all the Genin since this is first time they heard him say more than one word. Both Junin nodded at each other. Now that we have introduced each other, I will tell you that we will have survival training at the training field in few minutes due to Sasuke's accident delaying our team meeting, Kurenai declared with a glare that made the stoic Uchiha tremble slightly. But, Kurenai-sensei, we already did that in the academy, Kiba protested but was interrupted by Kakashi. I am telling you the truth and I know you guys will be shocked at this piece of news. The silver-haired sensei began to grin from ear to ear. Out of all the academy students that have been made genin, Only 8 will be chosen as a genin. The rest will be sent back to the academy, said the Cyclops with an evil glint in his eye. "Nai!" shouted out Sakura and Kiba. Sasuke had a grim look on his face. There is no way he will fail this test, and if anyone tries to hold him back then he would just have to take care of it. Hinata lost all of her self-confidence that she had left after hearing what Kakashi said. Shino simply narrowed his eyebrows. "We will see you on Team 7 training ground, so try to keep up," said Kurenai as she and Kakashi sped towards said place followed by the rest of the team. A couple of minutes later everyone was present and Sakura was the only one that seemed at all winded. "It seems we'll have to work on her stamina," thought Kurenai grimly. "So for the test, all you have to do is take one of these 3 bells from us. Whoever gets a bell passes. If you don't get a bell you will fail and go back to the academy for another year off training," Kakashi explained, pulling out 3 bells and holding them in front his face. Then he threw 2 bells to Kurenai. "Once Kakashi gives the order, all of you can either charge at us with the intent to kill or hide somewhere and plan your moves," Kurenai said, with a sugary voice, also seeing if they could take a hint. "You are to get the bells by noon today and failure to do so you know what happens," said Kakashi. Each of their eyes widened, but you couldn't see it in Shino's case due to his sunglasses. "So you can use anything you want from shuriken to kunai, and even jutsu if you have them." Kakashi was about to begin when Sakura protested, "But, Sensei, you guys may get seriously injured if we come at you with full intent to kill." Kurenai smiled at her. She was really naive, thinking they could hurt a couple Junin. Now Sakura, do you think we are Junin for nothing?" Kakashi started to take out his favorite book. He was waiting for this moment to just relax and read about what will happen next. Everyone was tense, thinking that Kakashi is most likely taking out some kind of weapon, but they all face-faulted when he took out an orange book. He looked at the Genin's face and smiled under his mask. "Alright, Hajime," he said, and the Genins disappeared, all except for Kiba being the only one in the group who was brash. "Hey Kiba, are you going to fight both of us?" Kurenai asked and immediately got her answer when Kiba threw 5 kunai at both Junin. Both dodged the projectiles that hit some trees behind them. Kakashi started to read his book, gave out some perverted giggles to piss off Kiba, and it seemed to work pretty well when Kiba charged Kakashi and engaged him in taijutsu. For a Genin, Kakashi had to admit Kiba was pretty good, but that shouldn't be a surprise considering Inuzuka specialize in taijutsu. Kiba raised a fist to hit him in the head, but it was blocked by Kakashi's hand. He tried to kick him next, but Kakashi simply leaned his head to the side, then threw Kiba about 8 feet backward, and he did all this while reading his book. Kiba, deciding to have enough prepared for his clan jutsu, he called Akamaru over and tossed him a food pill and then ate one himself, crouching low to the ground so he was on his hands and feet, and then his nails lengthened. Kakashi, seeing him do this, started to do sets of fast hand seal, Doten, Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu Earth Release, Double Suicide Decapitation Technique. He shouted. Kakashi then emerged from under Kiba, pulls him down so his head was the only thing above the ground. "What the hell?" Kiba yelled, finding his body unable to make any move. He looked around and saw his dog was in the same condition, whimpering. Kakashi looked down at Kiba and said, "Well, 1 down, 4 more to go, right?" Kurenai, not getting an answer, Kakashi looked around and she was nowhere to be found. He then heard a scream and it was the voice of his pink-haired student. "I guess she is taking care of the others," he thought with a smile. Meanwhile all this was happening, Hinata and Shino was making plans to get the bells from the Junin. They figured out the true meaning behind the test. It was actually Shino who figured it out and went to seek out Hinata. Now they were seen heading towards Sasuke's direction since he was the only one who was able to fight according to his bugs and Hinata's Bakugan. "What the hell are you two doing here?" asked Sasuke, who was about to take action to take his rightful bell. "We figured out a way to pass this test," said Shino in monotone. Sasuke raised an eyebrow and said, "Yeah, right. Like no one knows how to pass the test. I simply have to take the bells from them, then I pass. There are only 3 bells and the one returning to the academy isn't going to be me." Shino smirked at the Uchiha's stupidity. "Do you actually think that we Genin could take on experienced Junin, Sasuke-san?" Hinata stuttered out. Sasuke sighed. For once he might have to take help from these weaklings. "Fine. What do you propose?" With that, Shino and Hinata started to share their ideas with each other. "Okay then. Let's get to work, Sasuke said with a grim face since he had to work with someone who was weaker than him. The other two nodded and vanished. Sasuke scanned his surroundings as he hid in the bushes while observing Kakashi was leaning on a tree with his face buried in his book. The raven-haired boy flew out of the bushes and blew out a massive ball of flames from his mouth with a loud and clear, "Katen, Gokkaku no Jutsu." Fire release. Great fireball technique, and then a gigantic ball of fire rushed towards Kakashi, who had a shocked look on his face. The fireball consumed Kakashi, and a second later he saw something fall onto the ground, resembling a scorched tree trunk that once was Kakashi. Karimi no Jutsu, body replacement technique, he thought, narrowing his eyes looking around the clearing for Kakashi. Never let your enemy get behind you, Kakashi whispered before putting his finger in a tiger seal, then shouted, "Sannin Goroshi," and thrust his finger forward, poking Sasuke in the ass. Raven-haired boy's face became red when he felt Kakashi poke him there. "Oh yeah, I mean oh no," Sasuke yelled as he went flying. Kakashi and everyone froze when they heard this. Shino, seeing this opportunity, went over to Kiba and pulled him and the dog out. Kurenai was watching everyone from afar. It seems they have figured out the meaning of the test, she thought when she saw Shino use the time of everyone's distraction to pull out Kiba. Sasuke seemed to be the decoy for their plan. Kakashi got out of his stupor when he heard Sasuke got off the ground wiping his clothes. He smirked. "It seems our plan worked." Looking at Kiba, Kakashi gave him a confused look and followed his gaze. His single eye widened when he was Kiba was nowhere to be seen, though he did get a glimpse of him along with Shino when they were about to hide. So they were working together. "I never expected Sasuke to work with anyone," Kakashi thought. He didn't have time to reminisce on that fact when he suddenly felt something whizzing through the air. Kakashi looked back and saw that out of nowhere Shuriken and Kunai headed straight towards him. Kakashi jumps to the side just as they were about to impale him. "Katen, Gokkaku no Jutsu." Fire release. Great fireball technique. He hears, then he sees Sasuke blow out another fireball from his right side, which was easily dodged by jumping out of the way, only to get the shock of his life. He saw Shihyuga Eris upon him with Byakugan blazing. "Shimada," thought Kakashi before she brought her right hand back and thrust Kakashi right in the shoulder to do maximum damage around that area. Kakashi flew back several feet from the hit, holding his now numb shoulder. "Now," thought Kiba from the bushes. Seeing Kakashi distracted by his internal wound, Kiba tossed Akamaru a food pill and consumed one himself to help their strength and stamina. Then, acting in conjunction with Kiba, Akamaru transformed himself Kiba via Yujinbunshin Beastman clone. Kiba started to hand seal and chakra begins to emit from his body, then crouched low to the ground so he was on his hands and feet, and then his nails lengthened. "Shikyaku no Jutsu." Four legs technique. Kiba snarled. Kiba ordered Akamaru to jump on his back. With all the preparation done, Kiba yelled out, "Let's get this over with." Akamaru Gatsuga, dual piercing fang. Both Kaibays started to spin super fast, making it look like two tornadoes made of piercing blade coming at Kakashi. Kakashi quickly replaced himself with a log and watched that log get shredded by the Jetsuga from a nearby tree. Kakashi shuddered when he thought that could have been him if he didn't escape in time. That bastard escaped. Kiba snarled when he saw Wood get busted by his attack instead of Kakashi. Up in the tree, Kakashi was hoping he could get some rest before having to go and fight again. But that shot to hell when he heard loud buzzing sound, and without even looking back he jumped into clearing, suddenly finding himself surrounded by 4 genins. "You can't hide from us since I place a ladybug on you before we even started the match," Shino softly stated. Kakashi sweat dropped, thinking how easily he was outsmarted by wannabe genins even if he wasn't really serious. He then thought, where the hell is Kurenai when you need her? Up in a tree, Kurenai sneezed. She was watching everything, and the reason she wasn't helping Kakashi was because she was thinking of this as a punishment for making everyone wait for at least 3 hours. Over her shoulder was a sleeping Sakura who passed out from the low-level genjutsu Kurenai used on her, and her records say that she was really good at genjutsu. Pathetic if you ask me, Kurenai thought. Kakashi, seeing nowhere to go and with a numbed hand he couldn't do any jutsu, so he had to do something to make them stop attacking him. He yelled, "Oops, look at the time. It's already 3:00 o'clock. That means you went over the time limit," while hoping they wouldn't attack. "What? It doesn't look like it's that late," Kiba complained as he stood up straight. Kakashi sighed in relief when he saw the other genins followed suit. Kurenai jumped down from her hiding place with a smile. She saw the look on Kakashi's face when everyone was about to attack him. She walked over to Kakashi and whispered in his ear, Did you get scared? Who wouldn't when they're using clan jutsus with such efficiency? He replied back with a glare that says, where were you? Kurenai shrugged her shoulder and Kakashi looked back at their students and said, well, it seems that you guys failed to take a bell from me. So you will all go back to the academy for another year of training, Kakashi said in a harsh tone. Sasuke gritted his teeth. There is no way he is going back to the academy, so he did the only thing he could. He tried to attack Kakashi, but before he even moved 2 steps he found himself pinned to the ground courtesy of Kakashi. Sasuke was on the ground on his belly and Kakashi was sitting on him restraining him with one hand. Didn't you learn your lesson that day, Sasuke? Never attack your enemy without knowing what they are capable of. You all know nothing about what it means to be shinobi, Kakashi said with stern voice, making the genins flinch. Kurenai was looking at them with a sympathetic look. In the shinobi world, people die every day. This is not a game, because any one of us can die at any moment, at any time. I will not have a bunch of kids going on missions thinking it's all fun. With that, Kakashi got off of Sasuke. Now since Kiba and Sakura will be tie them to those posts, the 3 of you can have lunch. Though it's past lunchtime, we'll give you guys another chance to get these bells. After eating, untie those 2 and come at us like we are your real enemy. If you feed any of those 2, you'll automatically get disqualified, Kakashi said as he tied an annoyed Kiba and a sleeping Sakura. Hey, why the hell am I tied to shit? Kiba shouted with a frown. Because you are the first one to start attacking without thinking, even though you made a great effort at the end, Kakashi answered as he and Kurenai left the area to a safe distance and started watching them. Don't you think you were a bit hard on them? I mean, they did figure out the meaning of the test, Kurenai said. Kakashi smiled under his mask and said, I want to see if that teamwork was a fluke of did they really figure it out. Kurenai nodded at this. It seemed to be a good idea, but she knows that they figured it out, so they should pass this test. About 5 minutes later, Sakura woke up from her slumber. Sakura opened her eyes and found herself staring at her teammates. Well, actually she was staring at his legs, and when she tried to stand up, she found herself tied to a large wooden stump. To her right were the boys, who still seemed angry that they hadn't retrieved the bells, and with them was Hinata. To her left was Kiba, who was also tied to another post. Sasuke-kun, you are alive. Thank Kami, Sakura yelled out of so much enthusiasm when she saw Sasuke that she didn't even mind her current position. She was about to continue when her stomach was growling, already having digested her light breakfast, and wishing that she could eat with everyone else well except Kiba. And why the hell is she tied this post? Hinata came over to Sakura and offered her the food she had left over. Here, you can have this, Sakura-san. But Kakashi-sensei said not to give us food, Kiba complained. Shino came over to Kiba and offered him his food. It's okay, Kiba-kun. None of our senseis are hurt at this moment, calmly Shino stated. Sasuke, being the only one who didn't offer his food, couldn't be outdone by anyone, so he also offered his food to Sakura and Kiba. Hinata used a kunai and carefully cut away the ropes that secured Sakura and Kiba to the tree trunk. Arigato, Kiba stammered as he took the lunch box, and so did Sakura. You know, you guys will get in trouble for giving us food, Kiba said with concern in his voice. We're pretty sure the idea of the test is to exhibit teamwork. I mean, why else would a teams be made of at least 3 people? They can't send one of us back to the academy. It's either all or nothing, Shino elaborated while adjusting his sunglasses. When Kiba and Sakura were about to take the first bite of food, Kakashi and Kurenai reappeared in another cloud of smoke. Everyone paled when they arrived. "You," said Kurenai and Kakashi at the same time, voice changing from unbridled fury to a complimentary tone in mere seconds. Shino was right. You are a ninja joint team for a reason. We can't fail just 1 or 2 of you. It's all or nothing. To be a team, all of you must be willing to cooperate and work as a team. To become a complete team, you must trust each other to do what you alone cannot. From this point forth, you are teams 7 and 8, but you must become comrades and friends if you truly wish to become a team. Remember, in this world of shinobi, those who break the rules are considered trash. None of the other teams Kakashi had instructed shared their food with the other member. They were foolish enough to listen only to his instructions, but those who would abandon their friends are worse than trash, said Kurenai, copying Kakashi's ideal, making him pout, because she stole his catchphrase. She was kind of proud of herself for remembering all those lines from Kakashi. The genin sat, listening to Kurenai's explanation, happy that they passed the test and doesn't have to go back to the academy. Well, anyway, meet us at the Hokage Tower tomorrow for your first mission. With that, Kakashi poofed away in a cloud of smoke to the chorus of curses coming from all the genins except Hinata and Shino. Kurenai stayed back getting some confused look from the genins. Seeing the confused face on everyone, Kurenai decided to ask, "Do you guys want to go and celebrate your accomplishment at Ichiruga Ramen?" "My treat." With a smile. Sasuke refused, because he wanted to go home and brood. Sakura also refused since her precious Sasuke-kun wasn't going. With the Sasuke left and was followed by Sakura like a lap dog. Throughout the whole test not a single one of neither the Genin nor the Junin noticed a blonde shadow up in a tree several yards away observing with a smile on his face every time he looked at the red-eyed Junin. The figure then disappeared in a flash that looked sort of like fire at supersonic speed toward the Ichiruga Ramen. That's the end of this part guys. If you want the next part then like, subscribe and leave a comment saying so. This is Maelstrom signing off.